So in this one, we are going to be doing my Dragon Ball Legends top 10 tier list with the new release of the Legends Limited Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. Just to put out there, I would not be shocked if 2 weeks from this upcoming Tuesday night / Wednesday morning reset, if this list got updated with the presumably next Ultra. A lot of people are saying it looks like Ultra Majin Vegeta is going to come as the pre-festival bait. So if this list were to get updated, that would be the next update. Until then, maybe Festival will happen as the big update if this Ultra, or if this Ultra doesn't drop, is a flop or just, again, does not release. But Gotenks does make a top 10, so I feel like this list needs to be updated. So we will just get into it right now. Only 10 units. I don't care enough to do the honorable mentions because, honestly, number 10 can be like about like 5 to 6 different units. I'm just going to name them off. Again, I don't want to explain all of them. Goku Piccolo, Garlic Jr., you got maybe Fusing Gogeta Blue, you got Ultra Golden Frieza, you got Ultra Gohan, and you got CMZ or Broly. That's 6 different units right there that I just named. That can all be number 10. This 10 slot is very free for anybody to take, and who I am choosing to put on it is going to be the Buu Duo. Now, I'm just going to say outright, their team I'm thinking about, because I'm thinking about every single team that can run with these characters in their placement slots. Their team is uncommon. Matter of fact, you probably had not even faced it a singular time. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But the team I'm thinking of with the Buu Duo is going to be the Buu Duo, Fusing SV, and then you do have Turles, that is Mono Blue. Now you look at the greens, we've always discussed this, where the green units are not good enough to offset these blues, right? Evil Buu, he's a solid green, Omega Shenron, solid green, and Ultra Gohan, a solid green. But them being just solid does not offset the godliness of, for one, the reverse element factor of the Buu Duo, so they can't deal with the greens. For two, does not offset Turles just tanking through and still being able to hurt them via his blue card. And three, that does not offset Fusing Vegeto's guaranteed rush thing that he has, which would kill Evil Buu and also Ultra Gohan. It kills 2 of the 3 characters that are green. So you have all that going on just to say these greens cannot stop Mono Blue. I think it's a very strong team. Actually, Mono Blue is what? I believe Buu Duo and Fusing SV are 4x Zenkai buff, while Turles is 2x. You're not going to run HP bench because Majin Buu Saga, you would leader slot, or rather you would just put Majin Buu Saga of Fusing SV. They give HP to Majin Buu Saga, 10% HP. We have Buu Duo there, Turles is lead, everyone's getting 10% HP. Everyone has good equips for HP. Buu Duo has very good equips on their plat and HP there. Fusing Vegito, I believe, has at least 25% on HP, if not more. And then Turles has, what is it, 45% HP on his equips? 35? Something like that. So everyone's getting good HP. Everyone has HP on that setup. 4x Zenkai buff. I shouldn't have to explain the details of 2 units being 4x Zenkai buff. They are very strong, and the Buu Duo is a very solid contender in the current meta. Despite there being good greens, that Mono Blue setup is good. Even if you don't want to run Mono Blue, you could also put, let's say, Triku instead of Fusing SV. You have Turles, Triku, Buu Duo, right? Kind of works out as well, but I think Mono Blue would just be a tad bit better. If you were to run it, you would actually get to experience how strong that is. Again, just Zenkai buff Saiyans / Sun Fam, and then boom, you are chilling, vibing, having a great time. So the Buu Duo, they have their standby, the reverse element factor, which also gives that off color there. And just in a general sense, their Vanish Back on blue card, very strong. 2 times each side, 80% Vanish Back. Obviously, this value. Vegeta standby in its own merit is a lot. And if you're going to go to timer, because let's say, you know, Turles is in the match, so it could go to timer, the Buu Duo doing their standby is essentially even more damage than a rush. Like, a mid-game rush does about the same damage as the Buu Duo's standby move. Whether it kills all 3 or none, doesn't matter. It does, let's say, 1.9 to one character. Okay, that's 1.9 to the other. That's 1.9 to the other. That's doing, what is that, 5.7 million damage? I have to get a kill, but that's my second rush right there, and I could triple rush and get all 3 guaranteed because the standby would count as a rush, and then the Buu Duo doing, Fusing SV, Buu Duo doing the 2 rushes there would be another 2 guaranteed rushes. So technically you'd have like a triple rush, maybe a quadruple rush if you got lucky enough. And you can actually destroy Dragon Balls pretty frequently on that team as well to deter their rush via Fusing SV, via Turles as well, 10% every single time he clicks a Striker Blast that lands. But Buu Duo, top 10, again, top 10 could be a culmination of a bunch of different units, but I like them right now. Could they move off this list? Yeah, they're on this list. If you're like I don't know, 7 through 10, maybe 8 through 10 more certainly, you're more susceptible to lose placement on this list. they are number 10. So if they were not be on the next list, who would be surprised? Though I would expect, actually, Ultra Majin Vegeta, I'm actually thinking he'd be green. Yeah, they would probably move off this list. Maybe they won't, but I would be very shocked if they somehow didn't, because they do start as blue, right? And they are just an inferior blue to the other blues. They're just a strong blue nonetheless, in my opinion. Nonetheless, we are going into number 9 here, where it's going to be Evil Boo. Evil Boo, I think his value is still active, while it is, I wouldn't say diminished in any capacity. I do think the Bujo existing does hurt Evil Boo, at least to a degree, despite them not being a common unit. Evil Boo just has to take a little bit of hit from that. Doesn't move his placement, he just has to accept that there's a hit to him there. But he still does his job of being annoying, being supportive, and kind of having that pseudo-lock on Majin Buu Saga. Majin Buu Saga got better with Gotenks here, so yes, technically the value is kind of just equalizing, because a little bit of hurting, a little bit of goodness, nothing has to move at that point. It's just, he's still doing his role. Does he need to be in the match? No. He's on the bottom of the list because there's a better green, right? He's a good green, but there's a better green that can just fit everywhere with Omega Shenron. Spoilers, he's in the topper tiers, but he still does roll well. Anything that's like 8 or below is going to be just substitute options for better options that do exist that are going to be above them. Evil Boo hits that exact mold because he is a sub option to Omega, a good sub option, don't get me wrong, but he is just that role of sub option, which is solid. It's just not as good as other characters. Still does his role well, still does what he wants to do, gets a little bit of buff because his team gets better, but nonetheless, the placement cannot move too much just because he's still a substitute option. Number 8, give me a second here, is going to be a character that has been going down for a little bit of time now, though. With its being the man, the myth, the legend I actually just spoke about, Fusing Super Vegito. Yeah. Yes, Gotenks, I understand, is going to be a red. As I have touched on already, you can just run Gotenks with Evil Boo. You can run Gotenks with Ultra Gohan. You can run Gotenks with Omega. Gotenks has even stats if you want to do a Strike and Blast setup. Those two being Blast Base with Omega and Evil Boo there. Sure, you could do that. Or if you want to do a Strike setup or a Mix setup or whatever setup with Ultra Gohan, because they both even stats, you could do that there as well. But it's not even about that. Right? It's not about Gotenks is so strong that SV has to go up. That's exactly an opposite to it, actually. Gotenks isn't that strong. Gotenks is going to be here. He's going to be very close to where we're putting SV, but that's it. Gotenks is not such a godly demon lord that it's like, oh, I need SV to kind of deal with this guy. No. You have neutral, you have, decent blues that are around. You can deal with Gotenks, no problem. He's not that big of a threat. It's just that he does exist as a threat. That sure, you could argue SV value is a little higher, but I wouldn't. There's so many anti-rush things in this game right now, man. It's kind of just like ridiculous. You got Evil Boo right there. You got Omega Shenron. You have Kid Buu. Technically, you have Ulton. You got a lot of stuff going on here. That's just like SV's main gimmick. While it's strong, it's still there. It's still prominent. It's still gonna fuck you over in matches from time to time. There's gonna be a lot of matches where it can't hurt you, and that's why SV has to stay where he is. Again, Gotenks is a good force to the meta, but he's not anything meta defining. So that's why it's kind of not SV moving up because Gotenks so crazy. No, it's just Gotenks is good, so SV is retaining value. Nothing really hurt him with this release. You would hope he would go up higher because of this red unit, but Gotenks has not made such an impact to, I guess you could say, promote the more usage of blues that are just the subpar options, because obviously SV is subpar to Turles, right? There's nothing that's making that happen. You don't need to run multiple blues to deal with Gotenks. He's not that character. He's okay. He's not that character. Again, I've mentioned a million times he's pretty inconsistent against blues. But nonetheless, 8 for Super Vegito there. Number 7 actually will be Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. I will just say right now, anything below number 6 is unnecessary. Once he gets number 6 and above, shit, you could even argue 4 and 5 who are tied there and above. That's where you kind of get into like the necessary characters, the really annoying ones you're going to face a lot. Number 6, maybe you could, maybe you couldn't. We'll get to it. But definitely 7 and below, you don't need these characters. There's nothing about them that's like, whoa, they're so crazy. I need them right now. Maybe you did in the past with SV. Maybe you did in the past with Evil Boo. But no, not now. It's definitely not the case. While Gotenks is a strong force and he's good, there's Triku right there. Legends has done this silly situation that they do often. They've done it 3 times in this calendar year, which I don't know why, We got Baby release right after Super 17 was out. You know, Super Vegeta as well, but Super 17 dropped. Makes no sense, right? That's a very good yellow, but they drop a red who would just 2-card him. Pretty stupid, but Baby, you know, aged pretty well. Sure, maybe just a little mishap there. Then Omega drops right after UG4 drops. Understandably, he's indestructible, so he's not completely dead because of that, but also a little bit stupid that the green Omega Shenron and the yellow Baby drop when the purple UG4 and the red Super 17 drop, right? A little bit of a kind of misstep there again. Okay, 2 times. I don't know what's going on. It won't happen again, though. Then they drop Gotenks, who can neutral. He has defense neutral, 100 counts. It's great. It's awesome. He can neutral offensively a little bit. 10 counts on blue, 10 counts on main. Great. Right after Ultra Turles, who is the #1 unit in the game. Super 17 was #1. UG4 was #1. Turles is #1. And yet you dropped all these units that are worse color to them the day, or I guess, not even the day after, the month after they release. I'm not sure what the plan is there. Like, I understand, yes, Baby is aged well. Yes, Omega Shenron's aging well. But why not drop a different color? I mean, is this like, or at least give Gotenks better usage to actually deal with blues because he doesn't have great usage. And just a little bit confused of what they're doing. All that to say, Gotenks has dropped in a bad meta form. We've said this 3 times now. With Baby, this is a bad meta form. He'll age better. And he did age better. Shocking, but he sucked on release because Super 17 was around. It made no sense to run him. Omega Shenron, he was okay on his release, and he gained more value once Triku dropped, right? You could say Omega Shenron actually kind of got uplifted via Triku, and it got perfected with Turles, and it's awesome for him. But in his release, people are very skeptical, as they should have been. This green dropped when UG4 is around. Why the fuck would I summon? And that's a valid thing to say, because why the fuck would you summon? You didn't need him. You still don't need Omega Shenron, but he's much more better off now because they kind of hindered UG4 to a degree. Not fully, but hindered him to a degree. And Gotenks, it's the same thing. Why am I going to summon if I'm a player looking at this as, I got Turles, or I know Turles exists, he's blue, this guy's red, he has very low offense neutral that's consistent. Why would anyone summon for this character? Understandably, not to degrade Gotenks here, he will age well. He has good cup pen for his allies and himself. He has good support, and he even has endurance. He has good stuff in his kit. Much more a supportive utility, but still good stuff, even survivability with the endurance. But why did he release now? I mean, wouldn't this have made much more sense to drop pre the movie campaign or right after Legends Fest? This same exact kit. Nothing changes in his kit. I feel like that would have been like a billion times smarter for his own usage, for his own merit. No one's going to really value Gotenks as anything crazy because they can't. This blue demon god exists. Like, I can't really explain this better. Ultra Turles is here. So what do you need Gotenks? Now to talk about positives of him, again, I mentioned he can go neutral. 10 counts on blue card after activation of the blue card, so you can even miss it. Do a combo right after, or if you hit the blue card, then you just combo right after. You get lucky, you get a feint, who knows, some RNG shit goes your way. Cool, great, lovely. But that's RNG. Then he has main ability, 10 counts neutral on main. That's great. He realistically, just gotta be honest with ourselves here, he has one realistic combo that he will have full neutral throughout that combo, and that's off the main. It's not realistic to get a combo off the blue card via a feint or a drop combo kind of working. That's inconsistent. You cannot plan for a person to get feinted with 20% feint. You cannot plan for someone to fall for a drop combo. It's not consistent. You could play into it and then do it on your own merit and happen some matches, but that's not always going to happen. You will always get the neutral via the main. That is consistent. So I don't know what they were thinking with this. Again, he can help deal with blues, sure, and he's good against the one yellow in the meta right now. Yeah. The one yellow in the meta right now, Buu Duo, again, you could, number 10 could be 10 different characters, who gives a fuck? I just don't understand this release. Like, he's doing his role fine, he's great against when there's non-blues, but guess what? Once I fight a Turles with Gotenks, Gotenks is going to the sideline and waiting for Turles to leave, because Gotenks cannot deal with blues. Now, I've mentioned how you could have fixed him, Legends, and they would never do this because they're not going to fix a unit ever again until it's like the money spender, Goku Frieza type shit. But why didn't he just get a 5 counts neutral on green card with gauge fulfilled? He gets covered in all 5 counts on gauge fulfillment green card, right? He pops his gauge when his gauge is filled, or pops his green when gauge is filled. 5 counts covered in all. Why didn't he get 5 counts offense neutral? If he got that, he would have been bare minimum. Bare minimum here. Could have even been higher. Number 5. Why are we locking his neutral to activate a blue card? It makes me struggle because there's such an easy road for this character to be amazing right now, and they just decided, no, thank you. It wouldn't even kill Turles. It would hurt him, but he'd still probably be number 1. But it would at least give Gotenks much more semblance of reasoning to care about him, and maybe even bump SV at that point, because he would actually be a serious threat to Blues at that merit. But then they said, no, he's a red. He's got to be red most of the match. You can't be, neutral anywhere. No, what stupid idea. I don't know why they didn't just do that. Like, it wouldn't kill Turles. It would make things more balanced out via this timer count meta. This unit has 400% damage inflicted, I'm pretty sure, with boost and cup pen factored in. You could have made this guy the hardest hitting unit in the game that can also neutral. We need that. Right now, we're in a timer meta, right? You face high stars versus high stars, Triku, Turles. It's going to be timer match. I go to them. I know. I have high stars of both. I have 40 stars of Triku and Turles. I know it's going to timer. But yet, Legends is like, I like timer meta. What do we do? Also, the Z ability of this guy. His Z ability. Ulton double defense. Triku double defense, right? Pretty sure he is. Turles double defense. Gotenks double defense. Ultra Gon double defense. How many fucking double defense do we need? I get it. They want durability in the game. I'm clearly understanding that. Why do we need triple double defense with this character, though? I'm glad he has even stats, but there's so many mishaps with this guy that could have been just so easily done correctly, and it's like they're on purpose. Like, you can't not tell me that this is just, whoopsie, we should have done that. Yeah, hindsight's 2020. It's so easy to just make this guy top 5. You just change his neutral from the blue card to a green card, then he's top 5, literally. Change the neutral, blue card to green card, offense neutral. Everything else in his kit stays the same. He's a top 5 unit. Right now, with all these blues running around, he's top 5. No. It's just disappointing, really, because this could have been such a good release that actually brought people to care about the unit and care about the game more. Like, it's a good banner, it's great stuff going around, but this unit individually just not good enough to warrant summoning for a lot of people. And it makes sense. If he had different stuff in his kit, like the green card and blue card, interchangeable, and they just swap the fucking shit they do, or just make the blue card do what the green card does. Or rather, green card do what the blue card does. It would have been much better. But they fumbled the bag. Number 7's not bad, but for a new unit release, I want to see them higher. It just sucks because maybe he gets a buff. Maybe Ultra Majin Vegeta's green, and maybe Legends Fest helps him more. I don't know. Sure, but I want this unit on release. I don't want units on release to be in the bottom of the barrel of the tiers. Anything below, I would say top 6 is just a kind of disappointing release. And Gotenks is number 7. I would honestly be shocked if someone coped him as a higher placement than number 7. Maybe 6 is like premium cope, but even then it's pretty tough because anything that's above him, it just makes more sense. But I've rambled on long enough about Gotenks. We'll get to number 6 here, with it being LF Kid Buu. Kid Buu still has his value, right? But do you need him? Kind of goes to debate. I did mention that 6, you could argue you don't really need the unit at 6, but everything above you definitely do, and you'll run into them much more. Kid Buu, you run into a decent amount fusing SV. I actually think you run into very little right now. I did the long video, and it was, high rank, early season, but high rank. I hardly face fusing SV. I think I face more Kid Buu than fusing SV, but obviously there's more characters that are higher up in this list that you face even more than that. So Kid Buu, he's still solid. I can't see any way that Gotenks is better as his current kit stands. If he had what I'm saying, this is why it's so easy to argue Gotenks above Kid Buu, right? If he just had that design I mentioned, okay, easily. Yeah, it makes sense. There's no debate about it. But the way he is now, it's not good enough, right? Kid Buu still does his job. There's nothing bad about him. It's just these other units you see more often, they do their job better. So, well, no, Kid Buu actually does his job pretty well. It's just that these other units have a better job and more important job, and Kid Buu's is just damage. Well, damage exists already. We don't need infinite damage. We already have infinite damage. So let's get some more kit utility going on here. Kid Buu doesn't have too much utility. He has some, but definitely more that's within every character of these last 5 years. So we'll get into it. The top 5, the 4/5, which are tied, meaning that if you were to swap them, I could agree with you. Matter of fact, even if you were to say 4, 5, 6 are all interchangeable, sure, why not? I'd be much more confident in 4, 5, but 4, 5, 6, sure, why not? With it being Omega Shenron as number 4 and Triku as number 5. Let me take another sip of the little cup of joe here. Thank you very much. Omega Shenron, though, well, Triku first because he's number 5, so that's the lowest one. Nearest placement. Triku still has his value, right? Nothing has changed. Once again, Gotenks has not made enough impact to deter Triku. Why is that? Because Triku runs with a blue, whether it be SV, Kid Buu, Turles, Blue Duo, whoever, any blue in the game, it's still a blue. There's still competent blues. There's not enough in Gotenks kits that would make the blues be scared of him. It just doesn't exist. Again, if his kit were better designed, which is very simple, this would not be a talking point. It was very easy to argue Gotenks much higher because he would have easier neutral accessibility. But how little he has right now, I cannot argue. And when I'm referring to neutral, I'm referring to overall, not defense. I know he has defense for 200 counts. I mentioned it. When I say neutral, I mean offensively. Because offense neutral is just a bit more important than defense neutral, right? But exactly that. Triku has not moved downwards, at least, because the red that came out is not doing enough of a red job that can also neutral. So he's doing his red roll, right? Again, he does fine when there's no blue, but there's always a blue with Triku. There's never a reason to not run a blue with Triku. He released with Turles because he wants to run with Turles. It's very simple. It's very brain dead. You can figure this out with your eyes closed. So why would he ever go down at that point? Gotenks isn't hurting the blues enough to warrant it. And if you were to argue, well, Gotenks deals with Triku, then Ultra Gohan deals with Turles. Ultra Gohan is good against Turles. I won't debate you there. But then you can think of the third unit on the team, right? And let's say it's Ulton. Okay, who's the third with Gotenks, Ultra Gohan, Ulton? That's the third. All that double defense. Given both teams have triple double defense, that's fair. I'm much more confident in Turles, Ulton, Triku than I am Gotenks, Ultra Gohan, and Ulton. I think most people would be in most situations there. It just feels like a better trio, much more survivability, much more safety. There's a lot less, mistakes that could even be done if you're running Triku, Turles, and Ulton compared to the hybrid trio. And once again, the bench there is also pretty horrid. The bench with Ulton, Triku, Turles is pretty solid. And even then, you could just slot in somebody else. You want to run, I don't know, Blue Duo. Sure, they can help deal with Gotenks and deal with the opposite there if need be. But Triku does not move down. Gotenks is not good enough. Kind of TLDR on that one. And then Omega Shenron. I think Omega Shenron technically has more value. Again, there is Turles running around. And, well, I don't think he's the greatest answer. I don't think there's even a good answer against Turles. I think Omega is the greatest in air quotes because his survivability, I mean, I'm really kind of coping here because Turles does not die to Omega Shenron, right? It's not really a thing. But if there is a greatest of the bad options, yes, this technically is. What do I care most about? Well, I'm kind of just looking here. I want to start being that number 1 character with these top tiers, right? And I think Omega Shenron helps beat Turles more than Triku does. While maybe the teams are basically the same, then I look at, okay, who's helping defeat Turles more? It's most likely going to be Omega Shenron, at least the first life. Now, when it's the comeback time, no one's beating Turles. But at least the first life, Omega Shenron is doing a better job because of his coloring. So I kind of give it to him there. 4 or 5, once again, are interchangeable. If you were to say the opposite yin-yang type shit, I don't disagree. I don't even agree. It's just a whatever at that point. It doesn't matter. They are right there next to each other because they kind of fulfill a similar asset to the team. Not same role, but they're a similar asset to just deterring others while Turles is kind of there doing everything, but they're still helping deter the others, right? Just like Triku would be good against Evil Buu. Well, Turles can't really deal with him, right? So that's a good deterrence. Or Omega Shenron can deal with other Turleses, or SV, or Blue Duo. While Turles can do that, Omega Shenron does that obviously better, being type advantage. they're filling that same role there, and also obviously offering the safety they offer. Much more utility going on once you hit this 5-4 and above threshold, and they hit all those markers in that utility sense. Equivalent damage, I would say, between Triku and Omega Shenron. Number 3 is going to be UG4. Nothing changes. Matter of fact, I'm just going to put them all together because this means nothing to weight, right? Number 2, Ulton, and number 1 going to be Ultra Turles. Nothing changes. Again, Gotenks has some impact. He has some use in the matches, sure. As I keep stating, while there is all 2 Gotenks fans mad at this, he is not doing enough to impact the meta to a high degree. He's helping. He's doing stuff. It's good. He has high damage. He has cut pen to his allies. That's fucking crazy. I know. But he is not doing enough in his own kit to be like, hey, that blue unit, I could beat the shit out of you. Sure, he can hit Turles with a good combo. One good combo, consistently. You know Turles. You know he doesn't care. Turles neutral doesn't care. Now imagine when that one combo is not active. Do you really think Turles is going to give a fuck about Gotenks? No. And that's why nothing in the top moves, because Gotenks is the only release that mattered that happened, because nothing else has released yet. Maybe the OG 3-coup plat will save the day and do something to murder Turles. It won't, but like maybe Copium exists. They're his secondary plat. But yeah, no. There's been nothing that's made a significant impact. Nothing really has changed. I would say Blue Duo just got my respect more because I use them and I think people underrate them. That's about what's changed here. Gotenks has earned a spot. That's cool. That's great. Awesome. But this spot is kind of worthless, honestly. I mean, grand scheme of things, what does being number 7 really mean? Alright, you're a sub option. You're a good option, but you're a sub option. You're better than CMZ and Broly. You're better than Goku Piccolo. Does that really, like, realistically, being number 7, being below top 5, does it really mean anything? You're all just here. You're all doing fine. You're all doing well. You're all fine enough to run. You're the best units to run. But the top 5 is the best of the best. If you're running into a team, it's going to be Triku, Turles, Omega, or Ulton. Sure, sometimes Kid Buu. Sure, sometimes Blue Duo. Sure, sometimes Evil Buu. Sure, from time to time. But it's going to be Triku, Turles, Omega, or Ulton. Then, UG4 you're going to run against with Ulton, Turles, UG4. Or UG4, Turles, Triku. Or UG4, Omega, Ulton. You're going to run into these safety teams of those top 5. You're not running into the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're running into the top 5. That's all that matters. Nothing that Gotenks does impacts a singular placement in the top 5 because that blue unit is number 1. Gotenks is not consistent enough to deal with that blue. It sucks. They could have easily fixed this. He has, I'm pretty sure, consistently throughout a match, because UG4 technically could peak higher, Turles could technically peak higher, but throughout an entire match, for all 180 counts, consistently, he has the highest damage inflicted. Again, last man standing, UG4 can get above it. Turles can get above it, technically, with debuffs. But throughout the entire match, Gotenks does have the highest damage inflicted in the entire game. And they did nothing with that. They said, okay, that's going to carry him to beat Blues. You didn't think that, Legends. You're not stupid enough to think that was going to be enough to beat Blues with fucking Gotenks, right? It's not. It's not even touching an aspect. Turles does not give a fuck about Gotenks hitting him. He doesn't. A high-star Turles, a high-star Gotenks, he doesn't give a fuck. It's just how it is. Even when I showed him off at 14 stars versus SV, if I have a blue card or a main, I ain't doing shit to SV. Pre-SV, Gotenks. I ain't doing a goddamn thing. It sucks. They could have just made his green card to get neutral 5 counts with the gauge fulfillment, get cover and all, neutral, and a card back. Simple, with key. Very simple green card they could have done. Very good green card, but very simple. He gets infinite greens. It would have been awesome for him. But they didn't, so the value is not there. It's still existent, but the real value we could have had, it's not there. We gotta wait. We literally just have to wait, just on the clock, waiting for Turles to drop down. Gotenks will go up. That's a simple math of it. He will probably be top 5 one of these soon tier lists in the next month or 2. I wouldn't doubt that. But right now, they do the same syndrome of here's Omega Shenron, UG4 exists. Here's Baby, Super 17 exists. Here's Gotenks. Here is Turles that already exists. A blue to a red, and a purple to a green, and a yellow to a red. It just doesn't make sense why they did it. Could have made him green. I don't know what the issue would have been. Gotenks being the LF. Evil Blue the 1% substitute. What's the problem there? Literally, what's the problem there? Tell me. I couldn't think of one. You can't run them on hybrids? You're not going to run them on hybrids anyways. Silliness. But this is my top 10. I just kind of get annoyed that they did just fumble this character. Not even to a high extent, but to the current meta extent. Like, this was one of the easiest ones. Of the 3, this was the easiest one to just, I'll fuck over Turles at least a little bit more. They said, nah, I don't want to. Number 1, Ultra Turles. Number 2, Ultimate Gohan. Number 3, UG4. Number 4/5, Omega Shenron and Triku. Number 6, Kid Buu. Number 7, Super Saiyan Gotenks. Number 8, Fusing Super Vegito. Number 9, Evil Buu. And number 10, going to be the Buu Duo. Let me know what you think of my top 10 list. I'll see you guys in the next one. It's disappointing. It really is. Don't care about Gotenks at all, but to just kind of hurt them for no reason, it's always stupid. They've done this 3 times this year. Why are we doing this still? Just let them be good on release. Let them age shit. It's fine. But let them be good on release. Number 7. It's a joke. It's a joke. He should have been 5. He has a kit for 5. He has a kit for top 3, for God's sake. And you design him as a number 7. Maybe 6 Copium. It's just a stupid design.